And that's not the only thing they have here. What else they do is they do a couple other things in this to show what's going on and what else happens. Now, they address this, and they will now go for it. Which dang it, I just lost my track of the documents here. Sorry, chat. Now, the same thing was filled out for Keanu, because Keanu is a witness as well. So we're not going to look at that one because it's literally the same thing, and they're going to demand that she show up too. But she is being asked to be there. And part of this then turns into a certificate gets filed, and this is from the judge themselves. And this is the judge doing their part. And remember, this is all stuff they have to do to present to the county they're going to show, judge, you need to issue the subpoena for Gino and Keanu. Judge, and this is judge saying, my name's Heidi Schultz. I'm a judge in Minnesota. And we talk about all the same statutes again. We talk about the New York statute. We're talking about Aaron's case again. It's May 13th. We talk about Gino Biscani as a material witness. We talk about Minnesota law providing that he will be promptly reimbursed, and that he's asked to, once again, pass by ordinary course of travel protection from arrest in the service of civil and or criminal process. And more importantly, now you're getting to the point of the affidavit from the assistant attorney is now incorporated. And this judge is now saying it is requested that Gino be directed to attend and testify as a witness. And this is one where the judge now signs it. And the judge is now getting involved. And from here, there is the administrator of the court. So not the judge himself, but he's an administrator there. He does certify that this judge was, at the time of the signing of the certificate, an actual judge in Minnesota, duly elected and qualified, and that the court is the court of record in Minnesota. You're now seeing the formal paperwork requirements coming in. The judge is now saying, listen, judge whoever in New York or New Jersey, listen, I'm a real judge. This is a real case. Other people are certifying that. This is the process you have to accomplish here. What happens from here? Well, they have now sent these out. They have now sent these documents out. There is the next step is that these get enforced. Okay. And along with this, you get the petition from the prosecutor who's asking for a petition for a subpoena. And they're asking for this court that they're going to go to and that's going to get filed in, please serve the subpoena for us and please order one out. And once again, they talk about the state of New York. They talk about going through everything there. This one's for Keanu, but it's Keanu and Gino. They each get one. And they talk about all the petitioning requests here. So therefore, they hereby petition the district court to issue the certificate requesting this subpoena. And then it's going to get filed. And then it's going to get served out of state. And then it becomes an issue for Gino and Keanu about what they do. Now, it's going to get served on them. They're going to get a subpoena served on them. It's a court order. And they could be held in contempt for that if they don't show up. Could the prosecutor ask for a material witness warrant? Sure. And that's a warrant where the police would apprehend them and they would be brought forcibly to Stearns County. We saw that in the YSL trial. Somebody was held in custody because there was a question of whether or not they were going to testify, and they were deemed a material witness. And once they testified, the warrant was removed and they were allowed to go. They do happen. Now, would it happen here? I don't know. What I would tell people is you should I would tell people you should abide by court orders. Just as a matter of course, you can't defy court orders. I can't tell you to do that. Now, what's going to happen here? Well, we've already seen Stearns County went after Ethan Ralph. They went after him. They put out a nationwide warrant for a contempt of court issue. The idea is, I could just not show up and they won't do shit to me. I I don't know if you really want to try them. I could see them putting one out for you. I could see them putting one out for you there. That is not the smartest answer at this point. That is not the smartest thing there. So I don't know if they should try that. I would not recommend it. If they do fuck around, they might find out. Also, it might turn out the prosecutor might go, you know what, it's not worth it. But are you willing to risk getting arrested over that? That's the question you need to ask yourself if you're out there, if you were in their shoes. I would never recommend wanting to find out because let's say you're right, great. But if you're wrong, your ass is getting hauled around. And yes, this would be hilarious in the context of this entire comedy that people were defying the subpoenas and were getting hauled in basically in handcuffs. Now, I don't want to see people get arrested, but yes, it would be kind of funny given just the way this whole thing has unfolded with Nick and Gino and Aaron and Keanu. It would be pretty fucking funny. But like I said, I don't want to see that happen. Now, could Gino and Keanu fight this? Sure, they have every right to quash a subpoena. And I can see them trying it. Based on what's been here so far and from what I've looked into, yeah, the court in New York's probably going to be like, yeah, you're going to have to go. But we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Could Minnesota force extradition if they decide not to testify? Well, that's what I mean. They could put out a warrant for them, and the court could issue contempt. There could be a material witness warrant. The court could issue a contempt order. It could do a lot of there's a lot of different mechanisms available. And we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Nico says, is this for a 2-day trial? It's not for a 2-day trial, really. It's for somebody's naked pictures being shared around. And that's the thing here. This isn't a murder. This isn't, a guy getting caught with a kilo of coke. It's a bunch of degenerates and flaunting everything and then getting really butthurt over Aaron. I mean, because that's really what this all comes from. We all know it does. This is Nick being really mad at Aaron, whether or not they're gay lovers or whatever it is between the two of them, because how can you be lovers if you really can't be friends? Who knows really what the problem is? But that's where this all comes down. This is Nick and Aaron. It's Nick and Aaron. It's Nick and Aaron all day. It's Brokeback Baldo. It's Brokeback Baldo. But yes, this is a bit much. I mean, if I was prosecuting this, there are far better uses of judicial resources and economy than prosecuting this like this. Here's a misdemeanor, hit the bricks. Makes a lot more sense. Makes a lot more sense there. Robert says the court can make someone pay a lot of money in order to travel to court. Ridiculous. Well, they said that you will be reimbursed. Now, do I think it's, Gino and Keanu should have the right to say, no, you're paying for our travel. Well, then you know what the prosecutor is? Fine, I'm booking you on Spirit. Here you go. You're sitting in the back. The same way, like, they wouldn't want to do that. But also, if Gino and Keanu say, like, oh, okay, well, we're flying, like, JetBlue first class all the way there, the court's, the prosecutor's office is going to be like, we're not paying for all that. Or they're like, we're going to stay at the Four Seasons in Minneapolis. Or, I don't know. Do they have a Four Seasons in Minneapolis? I don't really know. So, it could though, chat. But Michelle's asking, how does this work? Well, it's because states have entered into agreements as far as how you do out-of-state subpoenas for parties. They've reached compacts that work like this. For civil cases, it's actually the uniform. Hold on, what is it called? The UUDI. Yeah, hold on. Okay. The Uniform Interstate Depositions and Discovery Acts. I mean, there are ways to do this. States have made agreements because the states want to help each other because eventually they're going to need people from that state to get involved. That's why they're doing this. And notice it's not like a criminal extradition where states do that willy-nilly and it's not really a big deal. This is a little more involved because there's interstate compacts in this regard. As far as extradition is concerned, you run into issues of, full faith and credit. You're honoring, things from other states. And the idea is that if you do for them, they do for you. So, but this is an entirely different context than an extradition. So I hope that makes some sense there. Let's see here. Bella's saying his defense lawyer could drag both of them through the ringer. The way they both keep changing their story sides and underwear. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's like I said, there's some things I think Aaron can argue. There's some things he's going to have a tough time with. Do I think at the very least he's probably going to get like the misdemeanor out of this? Yeah, I think that's probably the most realistic outcome here. I don't know why they didn't offer that to him and just be done, but who knows what's going on? As Aaron has said, oh, they're still working on more, and I don't know. Maybe they're working with USA Boxing to get his license reinstated. I don't know. Who knows at this point? J Rock says if this goes to a New York court with a big enough caseload, they might not get to a hearing in time. That's a concern. Although you'd like to think the court would realize this is a bit of an emergency issue and would kind of fast track stuff. But yeah, that could be a problem. Although you would think because they've already, and this is part of what you have to do when you're a prosecutor, you have to plan ahead. They notice they didn't wait till like April to get this done. It's 3 months away, and they're already getting the paperwork filed. They're getting it where it needs to go to make sure things can get addressed. Because if you try to wait till the last minute, that's when shit falls apart, especially as a prosecution. You have to be ready to go. You have to have things prepped and working in that regard. Brad is saying, does it have to be in person? Yes. And I would not, there are, depending on your states, there is, especially now COVID's, we're definitely out of the COVID woods. Letting people, there's the idea you have the right to confront your accusers. You have the right to confront witnesses, and confronting them in person is far more effective than if you're confronting them on a screen. It's a completely different vibe, among other things. So yes, having witnesses appear in person is very important. Now, there are times where you could probably get away with it if it's not a critical witness, but it's a witness that kind of fleshes out some basic information. Sure, you might be able to get away with that. But Gino and Keanu are critical witnesses that, yes, you should have them there.